brothers, sisters, and pastors, couple. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Actually, standing here, I feel humbled. Actually, I feel unqualified actually to speak here. But anyway, since I was asked to do so, then I'm going to try my best. My name is Simon Peng. I came from a family, I grew up in China. I came from a family of 3 generations of communists. If you're talking about atheism, so my family is that kind of extreme. So I grew up really with that kind of education. So to me, it's very ignorant about God. At that, when I grew up until I moved to Hong Kong when I was about 18 years old. I immigrated to Hong Kong to attend my uncle, who was a priest, the Catholic priest. And so since then because I'm living under his care, I have to learn something about God. Because every day he's praying for me. God, please, guide Simon to be a brother, to be a father, a Catholic brother, father, you know. And so while hearing him praying like that, and I was also praying to God to say, God, please never let me to become a brother, a father. But anyway, God made a compromise, and so today I become a half brother, half father. So anyway, talking about my life, came from a communist family. I really don't have that kind of understanding or concept about God. But I was really searching. I mean, since the day I come to study about God, and I want to know, is it true or not? God really exists or not? Because if God really exists, that means, the kind of view of life, I need to really make a change, right? So, but this is not easy, as you know, that just to find if God really exists to you or not, it's not a simple thing. Because God is invisible. How can you know God exists? So, I was a Catholic in Hong Kong for 5 years, and then then later on, after I graduated from high school, I went to United States to study in the university. And at that time, I feel, no, I need to research my own. I cannot just listen to my uncle. So then later on, I entered into a Chinese Baptist church, which my uncle didn't know about, because he was against me to do so, because it's a Protestant church, right? So anyway, entering the Chinese church, I come to study seriously the Bible with a couple missionary, and also really try to search and read many materials, try to find out what about God, and through certain period of study and pray and offering devotion, I come to have feeling something. Like, especially one day when I was taking the subway, all of a sudden I got kind of struck by energy which is completely surrounded me, and I feel so much joy and so much warmness, and in my heart I said, yes, this is God. This is really God. And I was so joyful. And since then, my attitude towards religion, my attitude towards life started to change, started to shift. And of course, when you become a Christian, they taught you need to seek the will of God. And well, I better you need to seek the will of God. And so here come to the time after I graduate and from the university, I was trying to look for a job. In United States, as a foreign student, it's not an easy thing. My major was finance. And my view of only to find a job in the United States was so strong. And I tell God, please, this issue don't touch. Let me do the job. Because my fear is what? If I try to seek God's will in this issue, if God give me the direction, which is maybe going back to China or going back to Hong Kong or whatever, I would feel like, empty-handed, feel like I'm embarrassed, right, to face my relatives and my family. So I was so strongly want to stay in the United States. But then I searched for a whole 1 year and I couldn't find anything. because all is because you're a foreign student and your degree is not specific enough, and that is not the one which is special skill that we're looking. And every time I got so depressed. But anyway, 1 year later, I come to a dead end. My income is all get to zero, and I was in debt for 3 months rent to my landlord. And at that time, I was so desperate, and I was, studying Bible, reading Bible every day. And when I read about, how Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus always say, God, if possible, don't let me drink this cup. Let me, if possible, don't let me go to the cross. But please follow your will, but not my will. Huh? So one day when I read about this part, I just cried. And so I prayed to God. I said, God, if that is what you really want, you want me to go back to Hong Kong, to China, or whatever, I will obey. I will obey. And then I feel there's so much kind of joy, like almost feeling like God was really so much joy by my prayer. And it was so, that whole week after that prayer, whole week I was like living in the kingdom of heaven. When you see the sun, when you see the flower, when you see the glass, you see the strange people on the street, and you just feel like you want to hug them. You want to really, it's like really, heaven really picked me up, for a whole week. And after 1 week, I received a phone call, and then that phone call said, "Oh, can you come to interview?" I have so many interviews, and they said, "Well, this is another one. Okay, just try out." So I go to the interview with just like a ordinary thinking, and then, before this, actually I gave God a challenge. I said, God, you're a God of omnipotent, right? You can do anything, right? So if you want me to go back to China or Hong Kong, I need an airplane ticket. And I don't care how you come, because you are God of magic, omnipotent, right? So you can do anything, right? So, but if not, you got to give me a job. You got to find me a job. Otherwise I'm stuck here, right? So I offer that to God, and then I feel so relieved, after that. Huh? So 1 week later, and I received this phone call, and then just go to the to the interview. And then after half hour, the person who interviewed me said, "Okay, please come to work tomorrow." I said, "What? Tomorrow? Really?" He said, "True." So when I stepped out of the office, and I said to God, I look at the blue sky, I say to God, I know this job is from you, right? So anyway, since that time, to me, seeking God's will, following God's will is the best. It's the best in my life. And since then, I made a determination. Okay, in my life, I want to find God's will and follow it. Since then, all the decisions I make, I came from that, big experience that really helped me to build that foundation of faith. And then, of course, after I became a Christian for about 10 years, and at the end, near the graduation of my master's degree, I was really questioning the Christianity, because there are so many actually theological questions and problems which I couldn't find the answer. It was so painful to me, and so I was ready to give up my faith. And then here I was witnessed by my spiritual father. One day he gave me 2 books in the airport. I was on my way going back to Hong Kong to see my sick uncle, who was close to going to spirit world. And then he said, well, just please read it. And because he tried to ask me to listen to the lecture and all this, I reject. I say, well, you like the reading, then if you like it, you just read it. If you don't like it, just, you read it, you don't like it, you throw away. So, on the way of waiting for the airplane, I started to read the book. And when I started to read the book, I was so shocked, because all the theological problem that I was struggling about so many years and so much pain, and Father just with those speech. The book is like put the Father's speech together, and all the theoretical questions was solved in that small book. And I was just cry. And I was reading the book from the beginning of the flight. I was, even entering the airplane, I was reading it, and then sitting down, I was reading it, and I was just reading it and pray and cry all the way, until the end of the book. And when the airplane landed on Hong Kong, I finished the book. I was like, and that experience was like, I could really feel God was really talking to me and telling me that, you should prepare yourself to really go the way, God want me to go. And so since I came back from Hong Kong, instead of being pushed by my spiritual father, I went to him. I said, where's the book? Give me more books. And very soon I finished all his books. And I said, do you have any more books? He said, no, I don't have. I said, that's all the Unification Church? Oh, that's all the books? He said, oh, if you really want more, you go to the church. So then I said, where is the church? And actually the church was not so far away from the place I stay. So I went to knock on the door. And I said, I introduced myself. My name is Simon Peng. I came from China. And I want to come here and want to borrow your book. And then these people look at me, it's like, who's this guy? Very suspicious, right? I can be a spy, right? Communist China, come here, just try to read some book and don't want to listen to the lecture. They want to give me lecture. I said, no, I don't want to listen to a lecture. And so they kind of really ignore me. And at the beginning, out of politeness, they gave me a book to read. But after that, as a master degree student, one book, it only take you a couple of days and finish, right? And then I come back again, I said, you have more books. And they don't want to give me more books. They say, you have to listen to the lecture. I said, well, I don't want to listen to the lecture. And then they say, okay. Then I asked them, how can I become a member? They say, you have to come here and stay 7 days without going out. I said, you're crazy. I'm a student, and if I miss 1 week of class, that's a big problem, And I was so angry, and I just complained to my spiritual father. I said, what kind of education church is this? I'm a Christian. I know when people come to my church, we welcome them with so much warmth and love and all this, right? And what kind of attitude is that? And so I just complained, and my spiritual father was shocked, and then he got angry, and he called at that time the regional director, one of the 36 couple. He's still in Korea today, and he called him. He was in Korea, and report to him about this situation, and he got so mad at this center leader. He called the center leader and said, you have 7-day fast. So he fly back from United States, and he called me. So let's have a meeting. So at that time, we had a meeting, and he made a schedule according to my schedule, and then after listening to the workshop, I signed a membership, and then 1 week later, all of a sudden he called me and meet with me and said, Simon, would you like to go to Blessing? I was shocked, actually. Before I had a whole month of dream, like I got married. I got married. Even my father appeared in my dream asking me to get married. I was preparing myself to go through 7-year course, to wait for the blessing. And then when this leader Raymond Hong asked me to go to blessing, I was really surprised. And I said, yes, of course, this is so great. But he said, you have to admit one condition. You have to admit Reverend Moon as the Messiah. I said, no, I cannot do that. I am a Christian, and I cannot betray Jesus just because I want the blessing. I said, I like the blessing. I like the idea of blessing, but I cannot betray my life of faith just because I want the blessing. And he said, I give you a week to pray, and you come back to me and tell me. I said, okay. And then so that week I was really desperately praying, and I asked God, you have to give me the confirmation. Is Reverend Moon really the Messiah now? And I pray, yet I don't receive that kind of answer. And at the end of the last day, in the morning, I was praying in near the lake. I was protesting to God. I said, God, I have been always trusting you. I believe in you. And today is the last day already. Why didn't you answer me? Why? Yeah? So, just, and also something, I heard some kind of loud voice, in the sky or something. I don't know, it came from my inside or came from outside. I was so shocked. I looked around and said, somebody here? and this voice is saying in English. I said, Simon. He said, Reverend Moon today is the one who really understands my heart. Please follow him, and you shall not regret. And when I heard that, I was really surprised. And then, well, since that is the kind of voice I received, right? Then I have nothing else to say. I should follow him. Doesn't matter he's a Messiah or not, right? God telling me to follow him. So I went to the church that night, and I shared this to this leader, David Hong, and he told me, well, the reason God don't want to give you direct revelation is because too much indemnity you may have to pay. So that voice telling you to follow Reverend is to follow his teaching. His teaching is saying, I am the Messiah, please follow me. Right? Just like Jesus, whenever he goes, say, follow me. So I said, okay, I understand. So I signed. I filled up the application. And so since then, and then 1 month later, I graduated from my school, my university. The day I graduated, I moved into the church. And since then, I have been a missionary until today. My time already way past. Thank you very much.